Today I'm going to tell you everything about how I record live drum set in the studio. I'm both a drummer and an engineer and a producer, so I'll give you the perspective from behind the kit and from behind the console. I'm going to tell you guys how I prepare the drum set for a recording session, how I choose microphones, where I position the microphones. My name is Josh Junta. I'm here for the Love Science Music YouTube channel, and I'm at Second Take Sound in New York City. I would say the most important factor on getting good drum sounds in the studio is the drummer themselves. The best drum sounds I get are with the best drummers. Drums are like the voice. The musician produces a specific sound on the instrument. Great drummers know how to hit the drums, how to tune the drums, how to bring sound out of the instrument in a way that lesser experienced drummers don't. So when the drummer's really great and they get an awesome tone from the kit, it actually makes recording so much easier. The first thing I do before a recording session is play the kit and start tuning. Tuning drums is a lot like EQ. So if you're an engineer, then you can think about tuning a drum set the same as you EQ something. You're going to exaggerate different frequencies out of the drum by tightening or loosening the tension rods, which will tighten or loosen the head. You have to pay attention to how you tune both the top head and the bottom drum head because they both determine how clean the tone of the sustained note is out of the drum. So if I listen to this tom right here, it sounds a little choked, it sounds a little high pitched, so I'm just going to bring it down in pitch a little bit. So each size drum sort of has a range of sweet spots that sound the best for the drum's depth and the drum's diameter. So tuning is really important, so is muffling. So your starter kit for muffling drums is gaff tape, a wallet, and some sort of paper towel. Quickest way to muffle a drum, put your wallet on it. I'll add my wallet to it. It removes all the sustain of the drum. For muffling with tape, you can either use just the tape itself, taping and creasing the tape in the middle, which absorbs the resonance of the drum head, or you can tape a tissue or a paper towel to the drum head for even more muffling. Sometimes if drums can't really get in tune, if there's like a wobble to the tone, the quickest way to get a clean tone is just to muffle it. If I'm in a hurry in a session or the drum heads are damaged, I'll just muffle the heads and it sounds much cleaner. So let me tell you how I think about miking a drum kit. I really think about miking a drum kit in two layers. There's the overhead layer and the room layer. I consider that one layer. And then there's the close mic layer, which is mics right against the drum head. The main drum sound by my overheads. And then I use the close mics to kind of support that in the mix because I want to capture a natural image of what the kit sounds like in real life. I like to use different configurations of stereo mics depending on the day. So the typical configurations for stereo mics would be like an AB space pair, XY, Bloom line, mid-side, Deca, or Omni tree. Depending on the size room I'm in or booth, it kind of determines what mic configuration I might use. Really tight booth spaces, you don't have as many options, you don't have as much of a room sound to work with. So this studio is great because I have a tight drum booth sound here and I can close the doors. Today I have two stereo pairs set up over the kit. I have a pair of ribbon mics right next to a pair of condenser mics. That way I can compare for you the two sounds against each other. In addition to having a stereo pair, I often like to have a mono mic in between the two stereo mics. Recently, I've been putting the mono mic over the drummer's head behind the kit. I find this captures a more balanced image of the whole kit and the cymbals. I'll pan that dead center when I'm mixing, and it kind of anchors the whole drum set sound by giving center field information. And then if I want to capture a room sound, I'll do a stereo pair in the room, which captures the room reflections from the kit 8 or 9 feet away from the drum set. This is a stereo ribbon mic, which is in a bloom line pattern. So that means one mic, there's 2 mics in here. One mic is facing this way, left side of the room. The other is facing the right side of the room. And since it's a ribbon mic, it's recording figure 8, recording this way and also behind those capsules this way. So it's capturing the reflection on this side of the room and that side, which gives me more of a room sound. For kick mics, I often like to do a condenser mic and a dynamic mic. And I really want to capture, with the condenser, all the low end and sub information. I put it outside of the kick drum, outside of the drum head, usually about 3 or 4 inches. The dynamic mic is going to capture all the punch and brightness and slap coming from the beater of the drum. I usually put that right against the drum head, or if there's a hole in the drum head, I put it inside the drum. The condenser tends to sound more natural, like the kick drum does in the room. The dynamic tends to sound less natural and sound super punchy. I'll often use either both in the mix, or I'll just choose one or the other depending on the song and the kick drum sound I need. And now let's look at the snare mics. For top snare, I often do a condenser mic and a dynamic mic, and I'll either choose one in the mix or blend both. The condenser mic is going to sound much more detailed, have much more brightness. It's going to have more crack and snap to it. I've gotten into the habit of using a kick mic on the floor tom because it captures the frequencies I want to get out of the floor tom, which is lows and even the subs. Also captures enough brightness and slap from the stick so I can get the attack of the drum head as well as the low end. It's worth mentioning too that drummers have very different particular setups where they like to put each drum on each cymbal and each cymbal stand. So if you're recording a drummer, you want to wait till the drummer sets everything in place how they want it, and then put your mic stands around their setup on the kit. Now on the control room side, when we set levels of preamps during sound check, getting levels for drums is pretty straightforward. The main thing is to avoid any sort of distortion. You want to avoid having levels that are too loud from the preamp because that will cause distortion of either the preamp or in the DAW. So in sound check, I always tell the drummer, play as loud as you're going to play during the song so that you have their loudest levels to set levels with. And then assume that whatever their loudest is in sound check, they might play a little louder in the actual recording process, so leave yourself some extra headroom. If I'm working in a studio that has analog EQs, then I'll usually use them. Some engineers don't EQ at all when they record, but I usually do a fair amount of EQ. I think it's a good idea if you have an analog EQ to boost while you record to get that extra little tone out of the EQ and that extra sauce. You might as well record it if you got it. I usually don't compress that much when I record drums. The only time is if there are extreme dynamic levels in a song, so I might need to control some peaks from distorting. Then I might compress maybe the overheads. My idea is that I want to record really conservatively, so I don't want to make any extreme decisions when I'm recording. But when I mix, I do more extreme things. That's when I do experimentations and extreme types of processing. That's just me though. Some people like to record and do extreme things on the recording side and then just stick with it no matter what. If you're catching the gems I'm tossing out there, please subscribe, like, and comment. Also, if you like my drumming and my drum sounds, I'm available for studio drumming session work. Send me your song, let me know what you're looking for stylistically, and we can talk about your project.